Hello and welcome back to EGGRO VR. I've had some requests to basically do another video with regards to the multi-thread update and patch. I don't know if you're expecting changes, but if anything, it was way better. You'll see in the video that I'm going to share today, I find the frame times are running a lot better. People are saying anything below 11 or 12 milliseconds. When you're trying to fly and run at 90 frames per second with the HP Reverb G2, I find to try to keep your frame time below 10 milliseconds. I'm going to share that footage so you understand what I mean. Anything over that, you start to get some hitching. Basically, you're losing frames because the frame time is spiking. You want to keep your frame time below 10 if you want to rock 90 frames per second. Multi-threading, I'm also going to show the process on how to get the best performance. In the past, I downloaded Process Lasso, and it was good with the single core performance, but with multi-thread, I find it's best just to disable Process Lasso altogether. You don't need it. I find, if anything, it was not utilizing full core. So when you turn that off, you'll notice, just check your task manager and just make sure that all cores are running. In my case, when I'm flying in Steam VR, I'm able to have an overlay like FPS VR. And it looks so good. You can actually see the frame time. Also in this video, I disabled hyper-threading just for a test, and most of the clips that I do share using Process Lasso just to give you an overlay that's, a little more appealing to the eyes than Task Manager. You'll see what I mean. Other than that, I also didn't, throughout the video, I show my settings, but I'm changing it a lot because we switched from Steam VR to OpenXR, and when I do that, I change my settings, also depending on the module that I'm flying, like the Apache, say the Persian Gulf. Even if you're doing a single player, multiplayer, whatever you're doing, I find it's better, obviously, to lower your settings because you want stability. To have both, your cake and eat it. We got the RTX, I don't know if it's going to show up too good on here, but I got the RTX 4090 MSI Gaming X Trio. It's ridiculous. I actually going to share some footage probably in the background when I'm talking here. Max settings at 4K, I think I'm capped at 180 frames per second. That's ludicrous. We're maxed out. Nearly, actually. There's a few settings I kind of kept the same. I didn't feel like screwing around with my settings too much because every single time that I do it, I have to go back and fix the settings, reset. So what I'm going to try to do is I'm going to give you different avenues that you could take. In the past, I talk about OpenXR and my frame times weren't that good, but as I said in my previous video, it was really new to me. So I've learned how to adjust my settings in OpenXR, and now it's my go-to. And I'm going to share why. It looks ridiculous, especially with the 4090. I haven't upgraded my CPU. I don't notice CPU throttling or what am I saying, bottleneck. I don't notice a CPU bottleneck yet. I'm sure I'm going to run into it. I'm running the i7 12700K, but I know that the upgrade to like a 13900K is going to be wonderful. But I'm still rocking the HP Reverb G2, and I also have the Oculus Quest 2, but I haven't used it at all other than Beat Saber just for its standalone. It looks better on the Reverb G2, but we are using a cable. But that's not why we're here. I also share Microsoft Flight Simulator in 2D. I believe I have to make some adjustments. I might have to DDU drivers because I switched from my 3080 Ti, did a fresh Windows install, Windows 10 of course. I've tried Windows 11 and yuck, it's not cool. I find it just doesn't work. When it does, I will upgrade or downgrade at this point to Windows 11. I'm going to stick with Windows 10 for now, and I'm sure most of you are doing the same thing for the same reason if you are a VR user. If you're an IR user, Windows 10, or Windows 11 is really good. I mean, I switched over, tried 2D, it looked awesome, but as soon as I go into VR, it was a disaster. We're not going to do that today. So, like I said, I'm still using the i7 12700K with RTX 4090. I have the case space for it. I don't have the camera to switch over. I mean, I could probably move it and show you, but whatever. It doesn't even matter. I find my frame times are so much better with the 4090, and using OpenXR, I can up the resolution quite a bit. We're also, I'll share this in the footage, is I went from going 90 in OpenXR or Windows Mixed Reality. I was using 90 resolution, so 90% resolution. Now I'm able, and throughout this video, even with the 3080 Ti. So this is a mix between the 3080 Ti and the 4090. I was able to bump that up to 120%. I will share that footage. I didn't really share, like I was saying before, the footage in DCS, my actual DCS settings. I do share, but they're quick blurbs. So in the beginning of this, right after here, I'm gonna just throw it up there. We'll do a quick explanation of the settings. And when you're gonna switch modules, or say switch to multiplayer, you'll see what I mean. You wanna have that stability, you want comfort in flying. I don't like the snagging, I don't like stuttering. When you're in VR, it can literally give you a headache. So when I provide these videos, it's obviously not for the best visual clarity, but it's a bit of both. You want the best visual clarity and stability, and that's what I'm going to try to provide in this video, and I'm hoping that it works for you. But please understand that everybody's system is different, and if you have questions, myself or somebody else in the chat will always be there. Usually myself, I'll answer your questions. If it's trolls, I'm just going to erase your message. I don't need that. But if you're there and you want to say some nasty comments, it's just going to get erased and you're wasting your time. Other than that, without further ado, let's get to DCS. And before we do, I'll show you my DCS VR settings. Here we go. And here we are back to the settings. I've lowered the settings. This is basically due to flying high fidelity aircraft such as the H or whatever, the Apache, the P-51 Mustang in, say, channel map, or say we're gonna fly the South Atlantic map. Again, 90 frames per second, not using motion smoothing or motion reprojection. We do have some set in Steam VR, but we are not gonna be going down to 45. Frames per second. I want solid 90, and I'm pretty sure that's what you want because you're here. Anyways, we're going to set this to 4K just for visual clarity for just this recording, but you're going to want to set that to the lowest possible that your monitor can go. This, again, we will make some changes when we switch over to other aircraft like the F-18, the F-16. You can basically just try to figure out what works for you. Clutter and grass, I mean, I'm a ground hugger, I like to keep it up high. And if you're not, and you're gonna be doing a dogfight, then what's the difference? I would just lower that down to 0. You're not gonna notice significant changes having it up either. Forest visibility, about 60%. Forest detail factor at 0.58. Scenery detail factor at 1. Preload radius, you notice I've dropped that quite a bit. We're trying to avoid snags in all case scenario. Gamma, 2. External field of view at 78%. Anisotropic filtering at 16 times. Terrain object shadows at default. Cockpit global illumination is off. Message font scale 1 and scale GUI 1. Rain droplets on. Okay, so we're going to switch over to VR here. I would tick at the very top left if you're going to be playing in VR and not 2D. Just enable virtual reality headset, and I would tick that. Pixel density. Now, bear with me here. We're going to drop that down to 0.9. Like I said, this is just for high fidelity aircrafts and more hardware demanding maps such as South Atlantic or the Persian Gulf. We're going to drop down 0.9. And before you judge, give it a try. You'll see stability and you will still walk at 90 frames per second. Now what we'll do is we're going to go back into settings and we're going to make some changes. Now pixel density is back at 1.0. Textures we are going to raise from medium to high. Visible range will raise from low to medium. Shadows we're going to go from off to flat only. Resi Cockpit 1024, and MSIA we're going to go 2 times. Now this is for other aircraft. You fly Caucus F-18, the F-16, the A-10, and that's going to look absolutely fantastic. Again, with the last settings, with the lower settings, fly the F-14. You can fly everything and still lock 90 frames per second. So I hope that helps. Let's get on to the settings. Here we go. Bada boom, we're just going to go down to the bottom left under power, or search under power. We're going to go to additional power settings, and instead of Bitsum, which is Process Lasso's version, highest performance, we're going to click high performance, the one that's provided with the PC for Windows 10. Click that, and bada boom. This is going to ensure that your CPU is running maximum performance. Next up, we're going to right click anywhere on the desktop, NVIDIA control panel. You're going to go down to system information, and we're just going to check if you have enabled resizable bar. If you haven't, you can do so in your BIOS. It is super easy to find. Bada boom, I have that running. Next, we're going to go into OXR settings, our Windows mixed reality settings, graphics, disabled. We're not going to run motion vector, auto, anything like that. And Force DX11, we are going to turn that off. Bada boom. Then we're going to exit VR. Actually, no, let's go into settings here. Okay, here you are. Motion smoothing is on. Render resolution custom. I did actually set the render resolution per eye to 80% for a bit there, but we're just going to set it to 50% for stability. Advanced super sampling's on. Overlay, we're going to set that to low. You don't want any other process running in the background. VR, our Steam VR home, we want that off as well. And as before, I actually, per application, just set DCS to 100%. Developer, we're just going to set Steam VR because that's what we're using right now, but we are going to use OpenXR very soon. Okay, now we're going to go to NVIDIA control panel again, so right click anywhere on the desktop. Use the advanced 3D image settings. I'm just going to show you what to do. You click on there and then basically just choose performance. For you, you would click apply. I'm going to cancel out. Next, we're going to go to manage 3D settings. These are the global settings. Basically, the only thing that you're going to change here, because you have to or you should, vertical sync, I would turn that off. Program settings. Individually, you want DCS, I have mine set. Anisotropic filtering, application controlled. Anti-aliasing mode, enhance the application setting. After that, anti-aliasing setting will set to 2 times automatically. We're going to scroll down, and power management mode, we're going to set preferred maximum performance. Texture filtering, anisotropic sampling optimization, we're going to click off. Texture filtering, negative LOD bias, allow. And below that, texture filtering quality, high performance. When you set that, texture filtering, anisotropic sampling optimization will click on. You're going to want to switch that off again. Threaded optimization, use global setting auto because it already is. Triple buffering, click that to off. Vertical sync, it's off as it was in global. For virtual reality pre-render frames, set that to 3. And bada boom, there's your settings. You're going to want to click apply. All right, so now that that part's done, we're gonna go down to adjust desktop color settings. Digital vibrance, I use this for other games. I set it to 65 and just leave it. I just find it looks good. Display specific settings, I'm gonna set G-Sync. We're gonna click that to on, you're gonna click apply. And this is strictly for recording purposes through OBS. I just set that to full, and bada boom, there we go. Next up, you're going to click the Windows icon. This is with your HMD plugged in to your PC. Open XR tools for Windows Mixed Reality. Customize render scale, we're going to set to 120%. Preview runtime settings, click that to on. And motion reprojection, just disable it. In my opinion, it looks like rubbish. Mixed reality. Right now, because we're using Steam VR, we're actually going to get to this after, but I'm not going to set that to active yet. Again, go to the Windows. We're going to click Windows Mixed Reality. Go to Settings, bottom left. Bada boom. And okay, audio. When mic or mixed reality is running, just switch that to on. Classic apps, I would actually turn that off if I were you. Environment. Clear environment. I find it's good to do this every couple weeks. Headset display. We're going to run this as low as possible. This is just detail of the background or the mixed reality portal. Change, I wouldn't set that to Windows. Don't let Windows decide. Just choose high performance. 90 Hertz. I'm sticking to that. And calibration for your IPD. Well, you probably know your IPD. Boom. Under search. Graphics, you could just type in GPU, hardware accelerated GPU scheduling. Turn that off, as well as VRR. Next, we're going to go to game mode and make sure this is off as well. Click off. You'll see that these are on because I use them for different games, such as Microsoft Flight Simulator 2020. Next up, under search, we're going to check for updates. Always try to keep your PC up to date. This is crucial. Right there, just check for updates. Windows security, device performance, and health. I don't know, just check it out and see if it works, see if it's looking good. Now we're going to go to NVIDIA GeForce Experience. Drivers, check for updates. I know I'm on the latest version. I'm just showing you the process. And we're going to exit out of there. Let's check Intel. So double click. Intel driver support assistant. We are up to date, but we're going to refresh. And boom. Yeah, we're up to date. We're just going to scroll down. BIOS version. I did an update recently. Not necessary. Okay, 12th gen Intel, so running at full power, and GeForce 3080 Ti running at full power. I just like to check that. Corsair iQ. I'm gonna actually just check for an update right there at the bell icon. I don't always listen to that because it's not always accurate. So go down, right click, check for updates. That is if you're running iQ. I just find it's good. Everything that I'm using on this PC, I keep up to date. Okay, so we're gonna go into Steam. We're gonna right click, go down to properties, and we're gonna go to betas. I'm running open beta. You don't really have to. I just find it, especially if you have the hardware, try to keep up to date. Tools, we're gonna scroll down to the bottom where it says Steam VR. There it is. Okay, right click, properties again, betas. Run beta, bada boom. Okay, this is another process, okay, so right click your Windows Mixed Reality. I'm assuming you have that downloaded Steam, local files, verify integrity. We're gonna say yes to Steam client. All files successfully validated. If you're having issues with DCS, you can do the same, as well as Steam VR. So right here, we are going to, actually let's exit out for now. I'll get back to this. There's just such a process to all of this. Dashboard, we're gonna go, my WD Black, those are the SSDs that I'm using. I also have 1 terabyte external that I use for other games. I don't always have it plugged in. Okay, gaming mode I turned on. Tools, check for updates. Again, we're always gonna be looking for updates. And we're gonna scroll down to the next one or up. Check for, gaming mode we do have on, and we're gonna check for updates again. Then we're gonna go to status, make sure we're running 100%. Doesn't matter even if it was 95, I mean, it's just use of it. OpenXR, boom. You can, again, check for updates at the very bottom. So you open that up. I'm gonna provide a link to this so you have access to it. It is super easy to find. So right there, we got version 1.3.2, and we're gonna check for a new version. It's gonna bring you right to the site, to the link. Right there, 1.3.2, so we're good. If you're running or earlier version, you wanna run the newest, just download the latest. Boom, we're gonna exit out of that. Next up, we're gonna go back to graphics settings. This is a little different though. So I'm showing you HEGS is off, VRR is off. But you're gonna wanna add DCS here because we're gonna wanna set it to high performance. Bada boom, set to high performance. I recently upgraded to the RTX 4090. I got the MSI Gaming X Trio. I will share some footage of me flying Microsoft Flight Simulator as well as DCS. But in terms of settings, we'll get to that later. So we're going to go to, I'm hoping that you followed all that. Wherever DCS is in your PC, probably in your C folder. We're going to go to Save Games, DCS. Some of this you can always pause and screenshot. Let's just move this over here. Now you're going to want to click at the very top. Once you click the DCS icon, we are going to copy. And then we can exit this out. Then we're going to click Browse. Right under File Name, you're going to right click and paste. Then all you would do is add. I don't need to because I already have it there. Once it's there, you're going to roll or scroll down to where it says DCS and choose High Performance. Notifications and actions. We are going to clean up our temporary files. I've actually run into this a few times where I'm running, I don't know, 2-3 gigs. Right there, 27.3 megabytes. Remove them anyways. Boom, that's done. Next, we're going to clear disk space. So just type disk, click OK. Right there, 6.25 megabytes, not a big deal. Let's get rid of it. And as we're waiting, delete, boom. The 4090 is an absolute monster. I can't wait to share some footage, but that's going to be a later date. Okay, we're going back into Steam. We're going to go to Manage, Browse Local Files. And right there, bin, but that's not what we're looking for. Bin, MT stands for multi-thread. So we're just going to go back. And this is assuming you're on the latest version. So we're going to click on multi-thread. Right there, you're going to right click where it says DCS under multi-thread. And we are going to create a shortcut. And then a shortcut will appear like it shows I have there. So you would hit that. Then you're going to grab said shortcut and you're going to drop it anywhere on the desktop. Right there for me. Boom, exit out. I'm going to right click said shortcut, go to properties, and you're going to want to force enable VR force OpenXR. That is if you're going to use OpenXR. It is freaking working awesome. So I'm just going to copy this for you right now, and then I'm going to paste it in the link or the description below. So you have access to that. So that's what you would do. You would right click, paste after DCS EXE. And that gives you access to OpenXR. Okay, we're gonna go back to users, save games, DCS. This is something you should always do after an update, or at least I do anyways. Delete your FXO and Metashaders 2. Bada boom, that part is done. Okay, this part, Precision X1. Let's get rid of GeForce Experience. We are going to set an overclock. With the 3080 Ti, it runs a bit hot, so I run my fans very fast at max. We're going to set a power target 113.91, clock speed at 120, and memory again at 400. Max out to 100. I like to give it a second for the fans to catch up. You're not just going 0 to 100. Boom. And right here, we're going to click rebar. And again, show you that rebar is working. Resizable bar is enabled. And again, you can always set or turn on rebar in your BIOS if it's not. All right. Next up, Corsair, we're going to set a fan profile for our CPU and just for the PC case. Extreme profile on fans 1 through 6 or 7. I have 9 fans total, but 3 I'm running right out of the BIOS at max. Extreme, boom, pump, always leave that at extreme. Here's the dashboard. Pretty simple, just gives you an overlay of what's going on from within your PC. And yeah, temps look fine. We're going to exit out of here. What I like to do is I don't like leaving that running in the background. So I am going to right click, as well as the same thing I did with X1. Just quit out of that. As well as X1, they will run your fan profile. And X1, if you're using X1. Okay, oh yeah, you want to disable your security. I mean, you're just gaming. You're not online doing anything. You might be doing both, but anyways, we're going to go into DCS and we're going to set our settings profile. right here. So I hope you got that quick, because I'm not going to go over every single one. It's all the same. Pixel density has 1.0, force IPD, and mass size 0.42. Bada boom. Now we're in the UH1 Huey in Nevada on a free flight. This is just to give you an example of the overlay. I am running at 3840 by 2160, so that is 4K resolution. So, I mean, you don't want to do that. You want to run it as low as your monitor can go. Here's process lasso. The reason for doing this is I disabled hyper-threading in my BIOS just to do a little test and to show you what is going on here, because that was what we had to do before this latest update. Here's Task Manager. We're running 64% CPU utilization. This gives you another resource monitor or overlay of what's going on with your CPU. And it looks like all cores are activated, I guess just 12. But this is something you want to do. I wouldn't disable hyper-threading. I was just doing a little test here. You're going to want to, if you have process lasso, just disengage it or just turn it off, or, you know, exit out that system before you even jump into DCS, so you can get all that juicy multi-threading. Anything over a 32 core, I mean, you're going to need to disable hyper-threading, but anything below, so in my case, 12 cores, 20 threads, disabled, and bada boom. Right now, you see that there's only 12, but when I'm running 20, I utilize mostly all 20. So 12 core, 20 threads. All threads are utilized. Just to give you an idea, my GPU frame time at 7.3 milliseconds, 7.9. And these are still pretty high settings. And like I showed you in mixed reality, I have it set to 120% render resolution. It's pretty good. I mean, that looks fantastic. It looks so clean. And the reason I put it on 4K was just for a visual eye candy. It just looks a lot better than, say, 720, which is the lowest the monitor can go. And I will share that with some of my clips here, just so I can get the utilization of frame time for both my CPU and GPU a little more clean. But in this case, I'm going to run at 4K just for your eye candy. And what do we got? GPU temps 53, but I'm running max, and that's with the side panel off my PC. 76% GPU utilization. Memory, that's just allocated. I don't know. I'd have to go into task or research a little further as to how much utilization of the VRAM that we are using. CPU's up to 93, so we're at 49%. CPU still at 42 degrees. But again, like I said, do not do this unless you have anything over a 32 core processor or CPU. You don't need to disable hyper-threading. You ever land on the Sphinx? Because that's what I'm going to do here. I don't know. It's fun to just do different stuff. And that's why I like flying the Hilo. You can fly nice and slow and check out the areas that you normally fly past at Mach 1. Not that you're going to rip through the city at Mach 1, and if you do, good on you. It's fun. Boom. We are going to land on the Sphinx. There's going to be a lot to this. I'm going to share some Microsoft Flight Simulator 2020 with RTX 4090. What a beast of a card. I don't say you absolutely need it, because I mean, I'm rocking the 3080 Ti in this video as well as the 4090, but you can see the 3080 Ti is still a fantastic, powerful little beast of a card. Okay, so here is, I've re-enabled hyper-threading in the BIOS, and you can see that all 20 threads are available now. So 12 core, 20 thread. DCS settings, here we go. As you can see, they're set pretty high, but we're going to lower it right now. Different parts, your textures, you can lower that to medium if you're going to fly, say, the Apache and the Persian Gulf. MSA, we're going to leave at ×2. And those settings are going to change when I do use the 4090. You can max them out, but I like stability, like I said in previous videos. There's render resolution at 4K. And here we are back at Nevada test flight in the Huey. And I just enabled hyper threading, so you can see that all 20 cores are available now, running at 95%, but that's more or less your efficiency cores running background tasks. And as I said, 32 core, anything above, disable hyper threading. Anything below, enable hyper threading, because you're gonna get all that juiciness. Again, we are running at 3840 by 2160, so 4K sexiness brought to you for you. Normally, you definitely do not want to be running in 4K, unless of course you're going to upload a video and you want it to look a little better. I won't do it all the time. I'm only going to do this for uploads. I never do this. I mean, there's no need for it. So you're going to want to run your monitor as low as it can go. Some people even disengage their monitor or unplug it during gameplay because you're in VR. Doesn't matter. Bada boom. So we're at FPS spiking a little bit there. We're going over frame time of 10. So that's not wonderful. I like to lower that. So again, like I said, you can lower a few settings, textures. We are running render resolution at 120%. We're running in 4K and I'm recording. So, I mean, those are factors that are going to play against me in this case scenario, but most case scenario, say single player, and I've showed you in the past, you can run multiplayer as well. But GPU frame time, I like to keep below 10. Anything over 10 at 90 frames, you're going to start losing frames because your frame times are going to be spiking. There goes a fake frame. That's just motion reprojection, creating fake frames for me. Not a big deal. Boom. I love this flying around these F-15s about to take off. Sometimes I'll screw with them and get in their way. They get impatient, but it's just a sim, not a big deal. GPU temperature and usage, we're at 58 degrees Celsius. Again, I'm running max fans. You do not want to do so. I would just run a fan curve and save your hardware. Again, I mean, these fans aren't easy to find or replace, especially with older hardware, as new hardware comes out. Here's process lasso. This is all testing. Okay, now this is single frame. We're just gonna do a single frame test here. This is what it used to be. You see that utilization is not very wonderful, but I mean, we got by, and the graphics, everything still looks good. Now we're back to multi-thread. I don't know, I'm just showing you single thread there, but not a big deal. So multi-thread settings are good. Average frame 79.8, still good. GPU temp and usage. Okay, I'm gonna say this again. So close out process lasso. It is not needed. I'm just using this just to show you for the upload. But when I'm rocking the 4090 later in the video, I disengage process lasso, and I do it when I use the 3080 Ti as well. Okay, GPU frame time. There's a fake frame, but about 8. And we're at the channel map running the P51 Mustang. I mean, that's pretty good. Anyone that flies this map, or like, this is a dogfight here. We're not online, mind you. We're not on any server or anything, but this is a dogfight, and there are other aircraft in the air. Bullets flying, and we are still at 7. And I'm sharing this with you in 4K. So you see the potential here. I hope you see it, and give this a try. I think you'll be surprised at how well this actually looks. Render resolution, like I said, mixed reality at 120%. The settings that I share with you there, I also use for the RTX 4090. Okay, damn, this map looks so good. Like, it's a gorgeous map. The channel map is fantastic. Normandy looks like they got an upgrade. I haven't got that map yet. Jeez, this guy is really giving me a run for my money. And I think he's going to take out my wingman, who kind of sucks, by the way. Okay, so we're in the Syria map here, and this is just showing you that with these settings, again, in 4K, I mean, damn, 84. Usually I'm rocking about 90. There's a fake frame going by, but 85 frames per second, average FPS. But our frames right now are 90. GPU temps and usage up to 86, 76%, 50 degrees. GPU memory, so your VRAM, that's just allocated. So whatever's being utilized is a little different than the allocation, but I still think the 4090 was a good move just for that 24 gigs, because I do notice allocation. I mean, if you have it, it's going to use it. So 24 gigs, the most I've seen so far is 21 gigs being utilized. That's a lot. I was gonna go for the 4080, but I held back and decided to go for the 4090 just for that 21 or 24 gigs of VRAM. And the card is just a monster. It's very powerful. You can pretty much throw anything at it and it's gonna eat it up. Doesn't matter. Some low flight. Again, we're still at 90 frames and 80 or 8 frame time is at 8 seconds. Let's disengage. We're gonna get rid of Steam VR. Boom, we're gonna go to Windows here. Now we're gonna turn on OpenXR. So you're gonna go to the OpenXR app. Click yes. I've already done that in Steam. I don't know why I didn't show it, but anyways, you're gonna say disable the OpenXR. You just click that so it's not disabled, and now it's enabled. We're gonna go to the Windows icon again. OpenXR tools for Windows Mixed Reality. We're gonna set that to active. So now we're not using Steam VR. Boom, exit out of there. And right here gives you the overlay. Advanced, target frame off, upscaling off, fixed foveated rendering preset. I have that to set to performance and pattern on Y. Turbo mode turn on. And we're gonna go over to appearance. Post-processing, I have turned on. Inputs, doesn't matter. System, okay, override resolution, we're gonna say yes, and then 2350 by 2299. So that is my settings for OpenXR. And a lot has changed. Here are the settings. I would screenshot this if I were you, because this is basically what I use for almost everything before I made that change to textures to high, unless you're flying like the F-16 in say Nevada or something like that. But before, so those are the settings I use for everything, even the Apache in Persian Gulf, MSA ×2, and right there. Okay. So here's process lasso again, showing you that I am using multi-threading. And I don't know, OpenXR, now that I have these settings kind of figured out, I mean, like I said before, I was still new to OpenXR, but I'm getting dialed in and it's pretty appealing. Especially with upscaling off, it looks so clean. It's almost like you're looking outside a window, like a real window of a real chopper, whatever the frick you want to call it. And here we go, we're still at 90 frames and frame time is wonderful. What do we, 7.5, CPU 5.4. And like I said, that's multi-threading. With the FPS VR overlay I was showing you before, you can see that in there as well. We'll do a low flight through here, doesn't always work out so good. Bunch of F-16s stationed there. I think there's a couple F-15 Super Eagles coming up. Don't mind the clarity on the right. That's just to show you the overlay, but I did set it to 1080p. So what I'm sharing here, I believe, is in 4K. Also, don't mind the aliasing or distracting kind of lens on the bottom there on the MFDs or whatever, on the dashboard there. It looks a little messy, but it doesn't look messy in OpenXR. It just shows that on the preview. I mean, you do see it, but you don't. I mean, with the HP Reverb G2 with the small sweet spot, it's kind of where you look is where it looks the best, obviously. It's got a small sweet spot. Again, I'm just doing the same scenario to show you the difference in frame time. As I was saying, before I was a little against OpenXR, now that I've learned to adjust the settings, so the settings that I'm sharing with you today, if you have hardware, anything similar to what I have, use it. I mean, OpenXR is, I'm going to say it's my go-to now. Again, here's the channel map. I'll just do a quick little preview runtime of this. And again, 90 frames per second. Look at the CPU frame time, 2.7. GPU frame time, okay, 10. It's not where I like to be. But again, we're running 4K to share with you. So, and I'm also recording. There's just some hits against me that normally I would not do unless I was uploading a video. But I'm sharing this with you to show the potential. And these are the settings that I would be using if I were you. At least you get stability. and it still looks fantastic. Okay, we're gonna basically do an overclock here. MSI Afterburner, show you the 4090. Actually, no, I'm not even gonna overclock. You leave this thing at stock, just set a fan curve, go into your setting. I have a fruit fly kind of bugging me here. Okay, so we're gonna go into fan, profile, and it's a bit of a dramatic fan curve, but it's what I use. And with this card, I mean, you could set from silent to gaming mode, and boom, it's gonna do it for you. I haven't tried overclocking with this yet, but I'm sure this thing's going to be an absolute monster, even with the 450 cap on wattage. Overlay advanced, upscaling off, it's all the same. Mode performance Y, turbo mode on. That just prevents motion reprojection. Not that I use it anyways. I don't like undulating rotors. It's not cool. Post-processing we have on inputs, doesn't matter. System, we're going to say override resolution to yes, and display resolution per eye at 3250 by 3179. Menu timeout, if you haven't used this, I would just set it to none, so that way it's not timing out mid-process of changing any settings. And those are my settings. Again, render resolution in OpenXR is set to 120%. These are the settings that I use for stability. As you can see, there's been some changes, but I do make changes like visual range or whatever. I'll set that to medium, normally MSA 8x2. But when you're gonna fly the Apache, as anyone that flies the Apache knows, it's a little more demanding on your hardware, AKA your GPU frame time. But with the 4090, you could pretty much max everything out. But you still have to make some adjustments just for that stability. I like to stay at 90 frames per second. And again, this is using OpenXR, as I just shared with you. This is the Caucasus map, but say I was flying the Persian Gulf, it's not going to be any different. And I said with those settings that I shared with you there, again with render resolution at 120, just set your textures down to medium if you're going to fly, say, Persian Gulf. But damn, I'm going to share Microsoft Flight Simulator coming up here, and we're only going to play in 2D today. I will share in the future using this card in VR. And I've tried it. I think I might have to DDU driver because when I changed it out, I didn't get a chance to DDU, so I just switched from the 3080 Ti to the 4090, sold the 3080 Ti, and then I just basically put it in the machine, and it worked good, but I might have a driver issue, so that's such an easy fix. Just DDU, get rid of the driver, start fresh. I'll probably do a video on that in the near future too. But we're looking around here. CPU frame time 4.6 and GPU frame time 8.4. Okay, now I didn't set this to 4K. I just wanted to get the best visual, or not the best visuals, but best stability that I can share with you, and basically a real case scenario. Again, here's settings. We're gonna, okay, hopefully you screenshot that, because that's what I changed, so you can go back and screenshot it. You can change your settings a little higher with a 4090. I don't think I need to share this, because anyone that has it understands that you don't have to really screw with the settings as much. So that's gonna limit me to, say, videos, but I'm sure there's always room for improvement for each update or each graphics card. But man, what a difference. Okay, I'm gonna shoot down a couple birds here, and then we're gonna move over to Microsoft Flight Simulator. I hope you're all doing good out there. If you have any questions as to the settings or anything, I'm gonna share links in the description below for everything that I'm using here. I'll provide the exact specs of my PC. I didn't change the CPU yet, but I do plan on that in the near future. Probably the i9-13900K, I believe, is what I'll go with. I might go with the 13700K. Always the K variant, because I didn't share that there, but I do overclock my CPU. You probably saw that. You'll see that when I'm running Microsoft Flight Simulator at 5000 gigahertz or whatever. For smooth CPU gameplay. I find it's just better to run at a higher frequency. There's so many videos on there for overclocking, but I'll probably do a video on that in the near future as well. Just do a little low flight, 8.3 on the GPU. Like I said, the VRAM, upwards of 21 gigabytes of VRAM. That's crazy. Absolutely astonishing, but again, it's hard to say because that's allocating. I mean, okay, here's Microsoft Flight Simulator. We're going to go into options. I'm just going to show you my settings. Just set everything to ultra. I mean, if you can, then do it. Anti-aliasing, TAA does look better, but right now we're going to DLSS super resolution. We're going to run at quality, and frame generation we are going to turn on. I'm going to scroll down, DX12 beta, everything else ultra. I think I changed terrain shadows, but other than that, look at this, 138 frames per second. This is New York. This is just mind-blowing. So frame generation, a lot of people don't seem to like it. I like it. From my experience, this runs so good. It looks so smooth. I mean, if I were to put it in slow-mo, I'm sure just like anybody, I'm gonna find some faults. But as I'm seeing it now, it's a lot better than running at 60 frames per second. And that's if I'm lucky. And that's dialing back your settings. This is maxed out. There will be some frame skipping. I got a lot going on here right now. 111, 119, that's in cockpit. But this is low flight. You see other people share their footage. They're usually a couple thousand feet above New York. We are flying between the buildings. Like, I think I dipped down to like 300 feet. And I'm still over 100 frames per second. Okay, here's without the overlay. I just thought I would share this just for the beautiful scenery without all those ugly numbers. And I mean, my boost clock on average is running at 2760. With an overclock, I'm sure I can get that up to 3000. But if that's gonna affect my gameplay, then I'll dial it back. But I will find the perfect overclock for this card. If I have to flash the BIOS, maybe try to squeeze out 600 watts. I just don't really see that it's necessary. Even overclocking, I don't think it's necessary. This thing, like I said, is a monster. I'm not being outright cocky about it. I mean, just like anybody else, it sets you back to get new hardware. But use case scenario, you find if you need it, and if you're gonna use it, I say why not? But be careful. I was gonna post a thumbnail of the RTX 4090 with a fire extinguisher. There's all the people talking about, and this has happened. I mean, this has happened. GN did a video on melting cables. I've seen other people on the pins on the NVIDIA side. I'm kind of leaning towards NVIDIA side. I believe this is a hardware error, something to do with the pins. I am no tech that way. I don't understand the whole process, but I don't think it's the melting cables. Obviously, you want to click your cable in. Look at this, low flight. Ah, shit, I don't have the overlay though. But again, you can gaze at the beauty. This looks so good. I do love this sim. I don't play it enough. I really don't. Damn, that was close. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed the video. There is just so much to go over. This is new. I've only had this card for a few days. I've had a few errors, so I'm basically just gonna use DDU, driver uninstall, and start fresh. And after I've done that, I will share some footage on Microsoft Flight Simulator, as well as DCS in VR. I hope you're all well, you stay safe, and we will talk soon. Bye for now.